Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 episode review, and this one's going to be for episode 11, Mouser's Attack. Before I begin, I should say that there's not going to be any screenshots from this episode in this review, and that is because I've only seen this episode once, and I cannot for the life of me find it anywhere else online, so it appears that a lot of people thought the show was on a longer break and so missed out this episode. Now, a lot of that can be put down to Nick not really telling people they were taking a break in the first place, and people not knowing when the show is coming back. So some of it's on Nick. I knew the show was coming back because I've been checking out Turtles fan sites, because obviously the best place to get news on shows is to check out the news straight from the fandom. So like, I'm a huge Avatar fan, I help run an Avatar fan site for that very reason, so people know all the Avatar news. So I knew the episode was on, and the only time I've seen it is on an online stream when it aired in America. It airs here in the UK next Saturday, so well, I suppose this Saturday now, it's Monday. So I apologise if this review maybe isn't the best one. I'm kind of just basing it off one viewing of the episode. I usually watch it at least 2 times. So this episode, I really did like it. It had a lot of interesting character stuff. The plot I thought was also good, and just the concept of the episode with the A and B team stuff, that was really interesting and executed very well in this episode. And I'll begin with that concept. The basic concept of the episode was that Raphael and Leonardo were kind of bragging about their fighting skills and how they're better fighters than Donatello and Mikey. That led to kind of them believing that they were a B team, Mikey saying that, like, you think of us as a B team, and Leonardo and Raphael kind of agreeing with that, and like they're the kind of main members of the team. So eventually, you know, they're forced to kind of split up. There's a Purple Dragon plot, there's also a Baxter Stockman plot, and the team is split up into an A and B team. And what I really liked about how it was done in the end was that they didn't specifically just go with Leo and Raph learn to respect Danny and Mikey, but they also did it in the reverse of that as well, that Danny and Mikey were trying to prove themselves but realised that they need Raph and Leo too. And I did really like the fact that they kind of went both sides of it, that Danny and Mikey realised that you could especially see why they needed the others, Leo and Raph, when they were planning the rooftop, on the rooftop planning. You see Donnie coming up with about 50 ideas in the space of a few seconds. Mikey just spouting out names for these ideas. They have no kind of direction, not really sure what to go with. They lack the kind of leadership that Leo brings, and I suppose the decision making maybe that Raph brings, and that like he'd shoot down some of those ideas because they were like way over the top, and then Leo would like decide what to do. So that's what the B team I suppose was missing, while the A team, while the best fighters, were missing that kind of intelligence and analysis that Donatello brings to the team, and also maybe some of the I suppose more upbeat attitude that Mikey brings, and funness to things. They were starting to get a bit tired and almost kind of on the verge of giving up. And I liked the way they did it both sides. That it wasn't just Leo and Raph made out to be like disrespectful to the other brothers, but that they played it both sides. And especially the way kind of Splinter kind of went with this, and that you just have to learn to work together basically was the theme of the episode. And that when the Turtles did come back together, that's when they were at their best, and it was really good. In terms of the actual plot of the episode outside of the character stuff, you know, we saw the return of Baxter Stockman, and I thought this was a much stronger episode for Baxter Stockman than his opening episode. Though I will mention the one negative about it, in that I felt like I was missing something in his story. Like, at the end of episode 5, he's dumped in the dumpster. You think that's kind of him out of the series. You're kind of wondering, is he going to come back? And he has. But they don't explain, like, they specifically say in episode 5 he's lost his job, and that they specifically show that he's not the best inventor. He has some skills, but doesn't have the raw materials or some of the big skills to do this stuff. But in this episode, they just say, like, oh, he's made this army of mousers, and you're wondering, like, wait, where's this guy with no job? Get the materials and have the time to make that many mousers. It was a bit kind of like, it was on the verge of just breaking that suspension of disbelief in the whole show. Once you get around that, though, it's a really interesting plot in that he ha- he is eager to take revenge on the turtles and like sends the mousers after them. The whole spray kind of mouser pheromone thing was pretty interesting, in that that's why they kept following them, and it was kind of like this relentless assault from them, gradually breaking down Leo and Raph. That was cool. And then the way the Purple Dragons plot with April kind of added into the kind of the B team kind of plot of the episode was interesting, and how they all came together. And while the turtles also came together, we saw the two villains in the episode come together. We saw Baxter Stockman join up with Dog Pound, not by choice obviously for Baxter, but that was interesting, and I think that is key for Baxter Stockman in this series. I don't think he really is a strong enough character to work on his own in this series, but with the Shredders kind of like help, his I suppose money and stuff like that, the materials, he'll be a big threat and big help to Shredder. So Baxter Stockman was much stronger in this episode, though I still felt there was something missing from his story. Like, how did he go from being in the dumpster to having an army of mousers? Where did the stuff come from? Then obviously the whole April getting her phone stolen thing, that was actually I like that. In the chat on the live stream I was watching, I saw a lot of people complain about that. It's like, wait, she's training to be a Kunoichi. Why did she not take down these purple dragons while they tried to steal her phone? And I like the fact that they didn't do that. They haven't like rushed that development, and that she's only been training to be a ninja for a few weeks, so she definitely doesn't have the skill yet to take down people like the turtles are. And we finally got to see a little bit of April's training, in that like Splinter tossed her the it looked like a kendo stick, but I'm not exactly sure what it was, just to show that she's still very early on in her training, and it's going to be a while before she's anywhere near the level of the turtles able to take down people on her own. I really like that, and they didn't just rush it through. The whole thing with the phone, I suppose, it was a bit of a kind of weakness in the plot, that they were all focused on getting the phone back, and then in the end they just break it, and you're just kind of like, what? But in the end, I assume like they thought they could get it back until it was absolutely necessary that it had to be destroyed. I can understand that. That was not too bad. But the other thing in this episode, I suppose a little minor thing, in that like April's best friend, who tries to call her on the phone at the end of the episode, his name is Irma, who is basically a original Turtle Show character. When from what the producers of the show have been saying, we're going to see her appear in this show at some stage, which is cool. But overall, I like the mousers as well. That's probably one of the final things I want to say. The design of the mousers were very similar to the 2003 show, and I like that, but had the kind of lighting inside them that was really cool. The last thing I want to discuss is just, I suppose, the end of the episode. Obviously, Baxter Stockman was brought before Shredder by Dog Pound, and it was another failure for the villains, but Shredder sees that, oh, with Baxter Stockman and his engineering skills, he can have Zever get the kind of legs that he needs to act on his own, and the breathing apparatus. That's an excellent way to do it. Very foreshadowing of that, because they specifically showed Zever in the water complaining about not being able to help out. Splinter, Shredder calling him useless and stuff like that. So that's nice foreshadowing. Kind of finally getting an explanation for why the toy looks as it does, and why we see Zever as he is in the opening of the show. That's really cool, and there's a lot of potential, I think, with Baxter Stockman working for the Shredder as opposed to being on his own, when he's kind of just like, oh, he's just a guy who's angry for getting dumped in the dumpster. So a very good episode. Some minor flaws to it, but really good stuff. That the A team versus B team plot was really, really well done throughout the whole thing. And yep, I think there is an episode next week, and the show's pretty much going on through at least until episode 16. So I will be back next week with a review. Thank you for watching, and bye.